Hello everyone, I'm Greg Weaver. Welcome to The Audio Analyst. Today, I'm pleased to present something that I've been wanting to accomplish and have talked about doing for more than a decade. With today's episode, recorded the Tuesday following the Florida International Audio Expo, I am finally able to check off a long-time bucket list project, a visit and factory tour to one of America's most iconic, highly regarded, and premier electronics manufacturers, the Valve Amplification Company, or VAC for short. Kevin Hayes and his father Channing founded the company in Sarasota, Florida, nearly 35 years ago in 1990. And Kevin has appeared on the channel previously, in episode 54 in early August of 2021. With that episode, he took the time to share the remarkable VAC story. Now, it is truly an amazing conversation, and I have linked it in today's description for those who may have missed it originally. But now, let's follow along with Kevin as he takes us through the space that is home to the Valve Amplification Company.
Hello, Greg.
How you doing, Kevin?
Would you care to come into our humble abode?
I would love to. Lead on, buddy.
Lead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Come on in.
Go ahead.
This is obviously the entry area to the building.
That it is.
And behind this lovely decorative wall here, you will find the beautiful and talented Darlene Montero.
Hello.
Who is currently working on some advertising material, it looks like. She does all of our graphics work. All the beautiful banners and posters and ads you see are from her, as well as product documentation.
And we see her at all the shows.
We hope to see her.
Yeah.
If we can find the dog sitter. And this is the area where we do our final QA auditioning of every piece we manufacture, service, or update. And you see a library of speakers here, for example, from some Nolas, Coras, Teals, and across the hallway here, some Tanoes and so forth. Just a small amount of the speakers we have for reference use. And this is the basic day in, day out QA auditioning system. We have a statement line stage, a prototype of the Master 300, digital gear and turntable and whatnot.
Some of this vintage stuff is just too... Well, the new gear is pretty cool, but some of this vintage stuff you
Various
got me.
things wind up getting stored up here, some of which is not mission critical. But you particularly noticed the Beta 110i integrated amplifier.
Buddy, that was one of my favorite pieces ever from VAC.
We reacquired that from a customer to kind of look at the idea of maybe building a museum one day of our earlier work. We've been doing this for 35 years.
Yeah.
And this old H.H. Scott 350B up until a short time ago was the factory background music system.
Wow.
So it'll be back online hopefully soon after we get these lovely new 7591s in it. So
Very cool.
yeah, anyway, and of course the Accord SRC1s, the granite speakers.
Sure.
And you see more speakers down
Yeah, I'm going to... There's some Tanois back here. I want to get a shot of this.
We keep typically around 12 speakers on hand for use during development and voicing, electrostatics, horns, and dynamics all. Each one gives you a little different view into what the amplifier is doing.
Absolutely.
And funny things happen. There was one occasion where we had everything sounding great on a developing amplifier except for on one horn system we had, where the sound seemed kind of hot, hissy, bright for no apparent reason.
Okay.
We wound up changing a single resistor. Everything was fine on that speaker. On the other 11, you couldn't hear we'd made a change at all.
Wow.
So different points of view are important to make your product play well with others.
Absolutely.
So
All right, buddy, lead on. Let's go into
production.
some of the fun stuff. Yeah.
Come on ahead.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the legacy gear and the testing stuff.
The statement, this is the Master 300 waiting for its audition. Every piece has a production card with test data and so forth. And when the time comes, I'll be signing on the audition pass line myself. Again, everything we do, I have to approve or it doesn't leave at all. Ooh,
Makes sense.
pair of 202s. That's going to be a fun audition. In this case, if they're going as a pair, I'll audition them in stereo and as mono pairs with singlet inputs and balanced inputs. It winds up being, what's that make, like 9 auditions just for this pair of amplifiers to leave. This is one channel of our original PA90 product sitting here for no apparent reason right now. And here you see one of our VAC DACs and one of our early, more affordable amplifiers, the vintage Williamson amplifier. This was a design exercise I did about 15 years ago. And you can see some of the features like the faceplate basics that are incorporated in the current line of products. This particular one was loaned to a production company and used on the set of some talk show that was on cable for a few years.
Interesting.
And then I discovered it being sold somewhere and said, hey, wait a minute, that belongs to us. And it came back to us.
That's hysterical. Oh, God.
Anyway, again, Darlene's area.
Yeah.
What we laughingly call the executive dining room just behind it.
And guess what?
This is our fine coffee maker.
Yes.
And
I was hoping we were going to get Yoshi in here.
Yoshi.
Come here, buddy.
Yoshi, puppy, come.
There's the boy.
This is Yoshi, the office puppy.
Hey, handsome.
Meet Brigadier General Yoshi Spots.
Hi, buddy.
He is half rat terrier, half Shih Tzu, and all mouth.
Yes.
Aren't you, buddy? Good boy. Good boy. Yes, you are.
He's adorable.
Okie dokie. So through these double doors,
Yeah.
we enter where all the magic happens.
Yeah.
Or at least some of the magic happens.
Yeah.
First thing you see is an area of the library of documentation, mechanical, electronic for many of the products
Sure.
over the years. And then this area right here is occupied by the, let's say, the brilliant and handsome Pete Hubbard. Hello.
How you doing, Pete?
Pete is a whiz at many, many things. He does all the compliance engineering for Europe, for CE, and does part of the testing of product here. He occasionally manipulates my printed circuit board design for a quick turn, and just generally very useful at many, many things. It's great having him on the team. I know it's not your fault, but still true.
I'm retarded. All right. So
Over here is our tube testing area, which is a little bit disorganized from activity right now. That's a roughly a 65-year-old RCA WT100A tube tester, which is kind of a rare beast and one of the most flexible and informative testers you can have, along with the more modern Maxi Matcher, and there are some other ones around if you clear the debris. This particular device here can be used to precisely match volume controls for channel tracking. It shows you deviation through their range as you operate them.
okay.
And now production. This is actually a piece in for update, one of our older 5300s. Here you see a pair of the statement funnel stages in production. And all that comes off of the hands of this lady here, Sherm Fordham. And she builds pretty much, let's see, all the statement products and the master power amps for the most part, and some of the signature power amps.
All the expensive stuff.
You are very skilled and very flexible. Right now she's doing a back panel for it looks like a statement line stage. So that'll all be hand wired. It's in the early phases right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this piece, for example, right here will become the main circuit assembly at some point in the future for a statement line stage. Not populated with, oh yeah, it is populated, I'm sorry. On this particular model, we keep the parts visible, so you have all these Z4 resistors, which are custom made for us in Texas. And this is a piece of machined brass that weighs a few pounds, which will be rubber decoupled from the chassis to eliminate microphony from the outside world leading to the delicate tube circuitry. So, and these are some of the machined transformer cams that go on that unit. This is a CNC machined production.
All right.
We have to keep you healthy. It's fine. Then we get to the little computer area here. This is a 196 character dot matrix printer, which is kind of an antique, but it's great for producing very dense reports. And the inventory control computer. So right now someone's checking up the stock status of our IQ bias assembly 8247 part number. We currently have 43 on hand. But you can look up anything you want. We'll look up 1010, which is a capacitor. We currently have 66 on hand. Safety stock is 80, so
You need to order some of
this
those.
week we'll be ordering some more of those.
Yeah, you need to order some of those.
So that and the bill of material to build the products are in here and so forth. Let's see. Stockroom currently holds $574,000 in change of parts. And oddly enough, here we are at the stockroom.
Yes, indeed.
So The first few rows are electronic parts. So, for example, in numeric order, this is some of the oldest parts we ever used on our PA90s. As you come this way, you get to various things. Let's see. For example, parts for the Curtis patented binding posts in large mass. Let's see what we have here. Various bits and pieces. There are more exciting parts, but trying to remember the part numbers offhand can be tough. So.
Of course.
But anyway, this is mostly circuit board assemblies and raw chassis of the bent and welded style. So you can see this, for example, is a line stage circuit for the Six Sigma 170i integrated amplifier, and so on. A large part of our work is also hand wired, but that tends to be made more toward the point of use.
Sure.
Wire rack, looking at $2 a foot here for all this wire, give or take. Silver being what it is and all that.
Right.
As you get further back, this aisle is mixed of electronic parts and chassis parts.
Some of these look pretty.
For example, right behind you, you just pass some of the switches we use typically for signal selecting. Ceramic wafer, high contact force switch, the best sounding way to do it. Forget about transistor switches or relays. That's the ticket. And that part, my cost is probably $150.
Wow.
And worth it for the sound that it delivers.
Sure.
And there's a bin of them sitting right there. So special solders and whatever is needed. But the chassis parts, for example, this is a 8-4 statement phono stage, and as you can see, it's not an insubstantial piece of metal, painted in a lovely silver, which Brent Meyer, who you'll meet in a few minutes, is largely responsible for. And of course, glass for various units and little ingots for the integrated amplifiers when there's no phono stage fitted. So on. Yeah, this is where the transformers are. These are power transformers for the preamplifiers. It's about, what'd you guess that weighs? Your hands are busy.
I can't.
Go ahead and try it.
Let's see. 18, 20 pounds? Oh, that's more than it. It's probably more than 8, but I'm guessing, yeah, that's pretty sturdy.
And then we just pulled about 50 of these parts in the last couple of weeks to make the show system. We sent just over 4,000 pounds of electronics to the recent Florida audio show. But that's an example of one of our 100-watt output transformers that weighs an easy 14, 15 pounds.
It's monstrous.
21 section bifilar wound. I can't from here. But we're a little low on stock there. Hopefully we'll be more in about a month's time. And little ingots for the backlit logos that go on the front of most of the products.
Cool.
So more wire.
Nope.
This is the illustrious Brent Meyer, or at least his back. Hi, Brent. Say hi to the people.
Hey, how you doing?
Brent, as you can see, is a cell phone problem.
That's right.
Yes, he is.
He's currently working on a master preamplifier, which has gone through its initial life test and is now being recorded for detailed performance, which is something that happens to every piece. Actually, you're working on a switch here.
Yeah, repairing a power switch.
Okay. Well, that happens. Better to have it happen here than in the customer's home.
Absolutely.
You can see one of those power transformers in situ here. And then we have storage of various pieces that are in process. This particular piece is here for an upgrade from a customer. And that should be happening shortly.
There's a lot of stuff here.
Here's a Signature 202, probably awaiting its final test at this point. And another one in production right here. This is the assembly bench of Jerry Berkey, who is not here at the moment, but will be back shortly. You can see there are two of those gigantic power transformers. Output transformers here, as well as a power transformer, which is rubber decoupled from the world to keep negative friction from making the chassis like a soundboard on the piano. This is Spencer Farrell, who is currently building a master preamplifier, and he's in the early phases.
stages, yeah.
But you can see the kind of wiring that goes to the back panel, for example. This work through here is just the grounding of the input jacks being done by hand. And grounding is fascinating. In the end, all the electronic circuitry will land on this hoop right here for its final ground reference. There'll be maybe 15, 20 wires landing there, side by side the entire time. But if you flip the order of a pair of them, you can hear the effect on the sound. I can't explain why that happens, but it happens.
It's kind of cool.
This is one the Statement 455 from the recent Florida Audio Show. That's a new model. This is a power supply facing back end towards you and an audio chassis facing front end towards you. And of course, that hinged cover we talked about
Yes.
that we like so much.
And we're going to talk about these.
More Master Pre's in production behind Spencer over here. And then we have the desk of Steve Zahn. Steve is the guy that can pretty much do anything on a pitch. He's been working on remote control assemblies until recently. Right now, he's building a switch for the back of the Statement 455s. When it's complete, that switch, which is the mono stereo impedance selection switch, will look like this. I forget the number of poles here, but something on the order of 12 or 15 poles, which your electronic guys will know is quite a lot of poles.
Yes, indeed.
And right now we're packing a set of Essence 90s, which is a new model. It'll be picked up later this afternoon by their new owner. I think you were here for the final conference audition.
Indeed, yeah.
They're being wired up for 230 volts for export.
Yeah.
And customers' avatar integrated in for update. Statement phono stage. This is built entirely on machined 1/4-inch aluminum, which is plated and painted. And again, the entire audio system is mounted to a machined piece of brass, in this case chrome plated afterwards, which is then decoupled from the world, a mass decoupling technique to prevent microphoning. So this is an area back here where showman equipment will be stored. This crate on the bottom right now and the ones behind it store a pair of Tannoy Kingdom Royals.
We were talking about this
which
at
were
lunch.
occasionally used at the show. So just take a look at warehouse space right now.
Yeah.
With a very small photographic studio in the back occasionally used. And actually in those boxes, 2 pairs of electrostatic speakers. Packing, always required. Steve is pretty diligent about polishing everything, flagging any cosmetic details, making sure it is just perfect. He's bagging the tubes right now for those amps. Every one of those tubes is labeled as to which socket number it goes in, so there's no guesswork when the customer gets it. This is an example of one of the side rails from the Master 300 and the 455 amps, machined from 3/4-inch aluminum to provide a ventilation pattern and a pickup point and whatnot. And then clearance for transformers toward the back. Over here is where we do silk screening, fascias and so forth. These are the screens to produce a variety of our products. For example, this one right here is the front decor panel for the 170i integrated amplifier. Kind of hard to see without some light there, but
There you go. Yeah.
and that happens right here on this table. Brent does the majority of that. I think maybe all of that. Well, look at our flip screens here going back 20 years in case we have to service a piece for a customer.
Here's some waiting to
Waiting to dry,
cure.
actually.
Yeah.
Actually, that one's about to be bounced for a paint defect. It's going to be torn down and painted again. So, and then at the back here, we have a small area of backup. We used to do most or all of our own CNC machining on chassis, and that's not really a great value add for us. There are too many competent shops that have excess capacity and are happy to machine for you quicker than we could do it ourselves. So we sold off our CNC machines a few years ago, but we kept some manual machines for emergency work and for prototyping, and they're back here. To your right, that is a Bridgeport vertical mill from just before World War II. So it's been making fine metal now for about 80 years, 85 years. And the Sheldon lathe over here is not much younger. Crazy things. In the old days before CNC machines would make circles the complex way, you would take something like that, which is a rotary table, and weighs about 250 pounds. And you would mount it here, and you would turn the part you wanted to machine the circle into. But it worked well. This is where the cosmetic panels get buffed before they're placed on the units. There's a step of hand sanding followed by buffing. A lot of time and effort goes into those gloss finishes on the products. And bandsaw, vertical mill, a rotary silkscreening machine can be used to label round parts like vacuum tubes and so
I've
forth.
never seen one of these before, Kevin.
So
This is insane.
we don't do that anymore. We figure, we don't make the tubes here. Why put our names on them? So we keep track of the serial number and we warranty them, but the Gold Lion made them. That doesn't need to be a hard name. This is actually a pneumatic press, which we used to use to press the grills into the Renaissance amplifiers, for example. Currently not being used by our current products.
Well, that's about it, isn't it? I mean,
Well, except
No?
for the upstairs area, which we probably won't go into today, but we have a video production studio where we do the When Music Matter videos, when I have time to do one of the When Music Matters videos, and storage of long-term records and various things upstairs. So it's about 8,000 square feet here. And we're getting a little tight already, but we'll see what happens.
my sincerest thanks to Kevin, Darlene, Brent, and Yoshi for making the time to host my visit and allowing me to conduct this tour. Now, recall the upstairs studio that Kevin mentioned as we concluded the tour? Next week, I'll present the conversation that Kevin and I recorded in that space regarding the new flagship model, the simply superb Statement 455 IQ Music Block Amplifier, and what it has to offer to the already spectacular performance of the entire Statement series of VAC products. I hope to see you then. Thank you for joining me today. For more details on supporting the channel, please check today's description section or visit my website, theaudioanalyst.com. Please stay safe and keep the music playing. Till next time, cheers.